Welcome. So this is 48B video 2. And my name's Anthony Bonaquisti, and let's go through these notes. So we're going to talk now about instantaneous velocity and instantaneous acceleration. We talked previously about the average velocity, and we designate that with a little line over the v. And we said, well, that was the displacement divided by the duration. And then we talked about the average acceleration, and we designate that with a little line above the a. And that is equal to my change in my velocity over my duration. But the question that comes up is, well, what about the instantaneous velocity at any point during a journey? And I can represent that by this diagram down here, and we see here's the address, here's the position at any time, and we see that it's not a nice linear expression. It's something where initially we're changing our coordinates very quickly, and then as time passes we kind of change our coordinates less and less quickly until at the end we're kind of hardly changing our coordinates at all. That gives this kind of line. And one could say, well, what's the instantaneous velocity at this given instant in time? And graphically, the way you'd get it is you draw a line up until it hit the curve, and then you draw a tangent to that line, to the curve at that point in time, and then you construct a triangle. And the rise of the triangle is your displacement, and the run of the triangle is your duration. And so you get the instantaneous velocity at that time. Abstractly we'd say, well, instantaneous velocity v, no little bar over the top because it's instantaneous, is equal to the limit as my little bit of time goes to zero of the duration of the displacement over duration. And we represent that mathematically as dx by dt. We say graphically the instantaneous velocity is the slope of the tangent of the plot of position versus time curve at the instant of interest. We can do a similar thing for acceleration, except now we're talking about a velocity versus time graph. Over here we had position, coordinate, address, whatever we want to call it. This is velocity. And here we have a situation where the object is initially changing its velocity quite quickly in a given period of time. There's a big step in velocity. Then the change in velocity gets less and less and less as equal time intervals pass, until at the end you're hardly changing your velocity at all. So, big change in the object's motion. I'd like to find the instantaneous velocity at this point. Well, I draw a tangent to the velocity versus time graph. The rise is my change in velocity. The run is my duration. Abstractly, I'd say my instantaneous acceleration is equal to the limit as my little bit of time goes to zero of the change in velocity over the change in time, my rise over my run, which equals, and we designate it as dv by dt. So, two expressions. What this says is, if you want to know the velocity, differentiate a x equation in terms of time. And what this one says, if you want to know the instantaneous acceleration, differentiate the velocity expression in terms of time. We can also do it graphically though. I mean, don't forget about the graphs. We can also construct a tangent and work out the parameters that way. Just to add on to this final bit on the instantaneous acceleration, remember that my instantaneous acceleration, which equals dv by dt, must equal d by dt of whatever v is. So it's d by dt of dx by dt, which is d2x by dt squared. So we could get our acceleration by doing the double differentiation of a position versus time equation. Let's do some of this. So what we say is, What is the instantaneous velocity of a particle whose position is defined by? Now, we're getting a quadratic equation in this case. And we're saying, what's its value at time t equals 3? Okay, if we imagine the graph, let's just play a game here. Let's call this t equals 0. So that goes to 0, that goes to 0. We have minus 7. So let's say minus 7. And then let's put t equals 1. So that's 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6, minus 7 is minus 1. Oops, a daisy, yeah. And then let's put minus 1. And then let's put 2 in. Well, that would be 2 2s are 4, 2 4s are 8, and 2 8s are 16. 4 2s are 8, so 2 8s are 16. Minus 7 is going to be 9, if I'm doing this right. I'm doing this on the fly, so watch out. And you can see there's kind of a curve going on. Oh yeah, it's a quadratic. It's going to look something like this, I reckon. Something like that. And we want to know what the instantaneous velocity is. Remember that this is position and this is time. We want to know what the instantaneous velocity is at t equals 3 seconds. So somewhere like here, what we'd do is we'd imagine constructing a triangle based on the tangent line. And there's my delta x and there's my delta t. Now, we don't need to draw that diagram. We don't need to do any of that. What we need to remember is that our velocity equals dx by dt, which means our velocity equals d by dt, and our x is going to be 2t squared plus 4t minus 7. So v is equal to, and how do we do this? We go multiply the coefficient, power by the coefficient, and reduce the power by 1. So that would be 4t plus 4. And then we find the velocity at time t equals 3. I used a little subscript there as my shorthand way of reminding myself I'm doing it at t equals 3. Would be 4 times 3 plus 4, which equals 16, positive 16. The signs matter with vectors, and this is a vector, and it's best not to leave positive signs as implied. It's best to write them down. Plus 16 meters per second. Let's do another one. What is the instantaneous acceleration of a particle whose position is defined by? Okay, so let's say, well, acceleration is equal to dv by dt, and this equals d2x by dt squared. So let's say our velocity is equal to dx by dt, which equals, let's have a look. It's going to be d by dt of 3t squared minus 2t plus 6, which equals, it's going to be 6t minus 2. And then we say our acceleration is equal to dv by dt, which equals d by dt of 6t minus 2, which equals plus 6 meters per second squared. So those are the skills. I do want you to be able to take a graph and construct a tangent and get me the rise over the run and figure out what you need to figure out. More commonly, I will ask you to do a differentiation and get me what I need. Okay? There's another bit on this we need to look at, which is like the next little step, which is about acceleration. There's misunderstandings about acceleration. let's take our number line. Positive x's plus 5 meters plus 10 meters mean that you're in the positive part of the number line, and negative positions, minus 5 meters, minus 10 meters, mean that you're in the negative part of the number line. So this is position, if you like, position or address. If I look at velocity, then I can say that a positive velocity, 5 meters per second, positive, or 10 meters per second, positive, that means I'm traveling in a positive direction. I could be in a negative part of town and have plus 17 meters per second. I can be in a negative part of town and have a positive velocity if I'm traveling to the right. And I can be in a positive part of town and have a negative velocity if I'm traveling to the left. But positive positions mean you're in the positive part of town. Negative positions mean you're in the negative part of town. Positive velocities mean you're traveling in a positive direction, and negative velocities mean you're traveling in a negative direction. So it's tempting to get a simple idea about acceleration. Oh, positive accelerations must mean this, and negative accelerations must mean that. And many people begin with the misconception that positive accelerations mean you're speeding up and negative accelerations mean you're slowing down, and that's not the truth. And I can show that to you by doing a simple table. So let's say that we have a time clock. So here's our time, and we'll go 0 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's start ourselves off going in a positive direction. So let's say we have plus 10 meters per second when the clock begins. And let's say that our acceleration is constant. And let's say it's a negative acceleration, which means that we have, say, minus 5 meters per second every second, which is meters per second squared. So we change our velocity by minus 5 every second. That's what acceleration really means. It's how much you change your velocity by every second. And so after 1 second, I've changed my velocity by minus 5 meters per second. So I add on minus 5 and I get plus 5 meters per second. After another second, I add on another minus 5. Well, now I'm down to 0 meters per second. After another 5 seconds, I add on minus 5, and I have minus 5 meters per second. After another second, I'm at minus 10 meters per second. After another second, I'm at minus 15 meters per second, and so on. So at first it seems like this intuition about if you've got a positive acceleration you speed up, and if you've got a negative acceleration you slow down. At first that seems to be true because we are slowing down. You know, our speed is 10, our speed is 5, our speed is 0. It seems like we're slowing down. So at first people go, see, I told you. But then you look at this second part and you realize that that rule changes now. Now I'm going in the negative direction, but I'm speeding up. Can you see that? I went from 0 to 5 to 10 to 15 meters per second. So you can't use this idea about the acceleration sign tells you whether you're speeding up or slowing down, because with the same acceleration I am slowing here, but speeding up here. So it's more complicated. And the pattern is this. What we see here, we can see it. If you think about it, this is a positive velocity, and that is a negative acceleration. And then round about here, we have a negative velocity and a negative acceleration. And we see when we had the direction of the velocity and the direction of the acceleration were opposing each other, then we slowed down. And when the direction of the velocity and the direction of the acceleration were in line with each other, they were pointing in the same direction, we speeded up. And we see this as pattern. If I've got a positive velocity and a positive acceleration, I'm speeding up while going in a positive direction. The velocity gives you the direction of travel. If I'm got a negative acceleration with a negative velocity, I'm speeding up while going in a negative direction. If I have a positive velocity and a negative acceleration, I am slowing down while going in a positive direction. If I have a positive velocity, a positive acceleration and a negative velocity, I am slowing down while going in a negative direction. So, the direction of the velocity tells you your direction of motion, and a comparison between the direction of the velocity and the direction of the acceleration tells you whether you're speeding up or slowing down. If they're pointing in the same direction on the number line, you're speeding up. If they're pointing in opposite directions on the number line, you're slowing down. So let's do this question. At t equals 5 seconds, an object has a velocity of 2 meters per second, positive, plus 2 meters per second, and there's my v, and an acceleration of minus 8 meters per second squared. So here we have minus 8 meters per second squared, and there's my acceleration. So what I can see from this is I am slowing down and I'm traveling in positive direction. It's the positive direction because my velocity is in the positive direction, and I'm slowing down because my velocity is pointing, in this case, to the right, and my acceleration is pointing in the opposite direction, in this case to the left.